Hi everyone, welcome back to Tech Education. This is part 4 series of Azure Durable Functions. Before watching this video, I strongly recommend you to watch the previous videos for better understanding, and the link of that particular playlist is available in the description box. In this video, we'll discuss about what are Azure functions and what are durable functions in a very high level, and then we'll discuss about the differences between functions versus durable functions. Azure functions. It's a small piece of code which will be executed in cloud without worrying about the underlying infrastructure. So you write a code and then just host it in Azure. Rest everything is taken care by the Azure. That is what is called Azure functions. Azure Durable Functions. So this is an extension of Azure functions, and this is suitable for long running workflows. And above all, it maintains state. Now, the important point of this particular video is functions versus durable functions. The first point, the execution model. In the execution model, functions are like stateless and short-lived tasks. This is ideal if you have a simple task which can be completed maybe within 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Example use cases, consider that a use case where you are sending a password notification to the user every day, where it will just fetch the data and send a notification, email notification to the user. There it will be the right use case. Suppose if you have a workflow which will take an hours, maybe like hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, etc., which is a long running task, their durable functions will be ideal. Next, state management. There is no state management in Azure functions, whereas in durable functions, there is a state management. State management means consider that you have executed a durable function 10 times. This particular details will be persisted in the storage account. On top of it, whatever the activities you have it in a workflow, right? So for each activity, the state is maintained. That means at what time it started, when it's completed, and what is the result of that particular activity. Everything is maintained in the storage account. This is the same storage account which you have selected, which you have configured it when you are creating a function app. Specifically, in the storage account, it will store this particular data in the Azure tables. Third point is orchestration. There is no support for orchestration in functions, but there is a support for orchestration in durable functions. In fact, there is a separate function called orchestration function in a durable function, which performs the state management. Orchestration means it's like coordinating multiple functions. Function chaining. Function chaining means if you want to execute multiple functions in a specific order and the output of one function is input to the other function, that is called like function chaining. If you have to implement it in Azure functions, you have to write an extra logic to do it. Example, you will call a function and then you will call another function, and you have to decide how do you send the data of one function to the other thing. Everything you need to add an extra logic. Whereas in the case of durable functions, it's out of box. So you will implement function chaining pattern and rest is taken care automatically. Next is parallel processing. If you want to execute multiple functions parallelly, then for in Azure functions, you have to implement additional logic for the same. Whereas in the case of durable functions, there is a separate pattern called fan out and fan in, which will help you to implement this parallel processing seamlessly. Next is human interaction. Consider that you have a larger workflow where human interaction is required. Till human performs some action, you will not be able to move your workflow to the next step. For that example, the best example for that is leave management system, where an employee applies for a leave and manager can either approve the leave or reject the leave. So till manager performs that particular event, your workflow will be in a past state. Once the manager performs his particular task, either approve or reject, then your workflow will be resumed. So for this particular thing, there is something called wait for an external event method in the durable functions. So that helps you out in implementing this human interaction workflow effortlessly. Next is async HTTP APIs. Whereas in the case of Azure Functions, there is no support for long-running HTTP operations. In the case of durable functions, async HTTP using async HTTP API pattern, we will be able to execute long-running process for HTTP operations. Now, the final point is retry logic. If you want to retry in case of exception, so for Azure Functions, you have to add an extra logic. Whereas in the case of durable functions, there is no logic over here. I mean, we don't have to implement an extra logic. We have a class called retry options, which helps us to implement this with less effort. If you see in the code here, we are creating an instance of retry options, and then we are mentioning like how many retries we wanted it and what is the duration, what is the time interval for retries. In this example, we are mentioning that we wanted to have retry options 3 times. We wanted to retry for 3 times, and the duration between the retries is 5 seconds. And we'll be passing this particular instance to the activity functions. So we are passing these retry options to a activity function called like data processor. That's it for this video. Did you found this video helpful? If yes, please consider liking it so that it can reach large set of audience. And finally, don't forget to share and subscribe. Thank you for watching.